Welcome back to The Watch and Dragon's Dogma 2. It's had a bit of an interesting backlash, would you call it?
I'd say rocky launch.
Rocky launch?
Yeah.
Yeah. And upon its release, Capcom decided to drop a whole heap of microtransactions.
Yes.
When I say a whole heap, a whole heap.
A lot.
And that caused people to just go like, what the hell are you doing, checking out? And look, scummy microtransactions, I get it. I'm like absolutely annoyed, ridiculous, over the top. This push for trying to monetize everything is a terrible practice in gaming industry at the moment. And so I absolutely get people's kind of response. You know, what are your thoughts on the microtransaction stuff?
It's interesting because I think in certain models they obviously work, like live service games. Free-to-play games makes more sense because there's a way for them to actually make more money. But I think especially when it comes to single-player story-driven experiences, unless it's expansions to the story, players are a lot less inclined to accept them.
Yeah, I'm a little divided on microtransactions generally because if it feels like they are just cutting content from the game that should have been in there from launch and just making you pay for it after the fact, I find that's completely scummy.
Yes.
Yet, on the other side, there's been microtransactions I've been perfectly fine with where it seems like added content that, and usually I'm pretty on board with if it's visual stuff. It doesn't affect gameplay. And so when I started playing Conan Exiles, they would release DLC, and usually if you bought a DLC thing, you would get a whole set of new armor. The armor stats was exactly the same with the highest tier armor that you could get in-game, and then you'd get an entire new build set as well to build bases out of. And I never really felt like cheated or robbed, and I basically bought most of it. And the thing that really, oddly enough, that kind of ruined it for me is they changed the DLC, kind of DLC thing. I don't even understand how it works now, Nathan. Right. There's some cool things that I want, but I don't know how to get it.
Confusing model.
It's a really confusing model.
Oh, okay.
Weird thing, and I think there's you can also sign up now to get like season content, and then it leaves and comes in, and I just can't they lost me. And I bought every single DLC previously, but with this weird convoluted crap thing, gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, I think that it works for multiplayer games more when it's more... I even think of like pre-order bonuses or when you have like the package that's a bit more and you get skins you might like. That's completely fine. But I think one of the issues people had, especially with Dragon's Dogma 2, was that some of the things were like changing the look of your character, fast traveling, things that are kind of quality of life features people want in games today that they kind of put a price tag on. And initially people were kind of like, whoa, hey, this ruins the experience for me.
So with Dragon's Dogma 2 specifically, I have played the game and I'm going to be doing a first impressions review coming out soon. And what I've actually discovered in regards to the backlash for the microtransaction, it's actually mostly hot air. I'm not saying this because I'm a massive simp for Dragon's Dogma 1. I have criticism of Dragon's Dogma 2. Look, check out my review. There are some things that they cut from it that legitimately piss me off, right? But in terms of the microtransactions, all these things that you can buy, you can not only get in-game, but the difficulty or ease to get these things in-game seem exactly equivalent to the difficulty ease of getting them in Dragon's Dogma 1. And so editing character is an interesting one. So in Dragon's Dogma 1, in the first playthrough, you could only edit your character once. So you buy this thing called an Art of Metamorphosis, and you could only buy it once until you beat the game and get to New Game Plus. And when you get to New Game Plus, you can buy another thing that's called the Full Metamorphosis, something like that, which gives you unlimited free alterations from then on. I don't know if they have the unlimited free ones, and I don't even know they have New Game Plus on Dragons. So that's one of my criticisms about something that might not be there. But you can buy Art of Metamorphosis in-game for a certain amount of rift crystals. It's a little pricey, but once you buy it, you can then respec your character. It's not that hard to get. And so that's there. And these DLCs seem to be shortcuts.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what they are.
Saving time for players who might not have the time to do it.
Yeah, and so same with the fast travel. You technically have unlimited, very low fast travel with the ox carts. They will take you from one major hub to another, and so far there's only 2 in the game I found, but they'll probably be up to 4, I think. And it's $100 gold, which is nothing, and so that's easy. Rift crystals, fairy stones. Fairy stones are one-use fast travel things that fast travel you to a port crystal, and you can find port crystals the same with Dragon's Dogma 1. Find a port crystal, put it down wherever you want, and you can fast travel to that location whenever you want. Exactly the same as Dragon's Dogma 1. You have a limited number with your Rift crystals. With your fairy stones, and you can buy extra fairy stones. I don't know, I haven't found out how easy they are to find yet. And that could be one of the limited, they could have made them more rare in Dragon's Dogma 2 to force you to buy more fairy stones. In Dragon's Dogma 1, if you got Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, you got an Eternal Fairy Stone, which was a limited use, an unlimited use one. And so I have a feeling that, and so there's a couple small instances of maybe they've actually made them a little harder to find in DD2. And therefore, that could cause people to just for convenience buy some. I'm not going to buy a single anything of the DLC because it's all available in game, and they have there's an Achilles heel with their supposed system. Nathan, do you know what their Achilles heels are?
Is it mods?
Mods.
Yeah.
So already I have a mod on Dragon's Dogma which makes a vendor sell Art of Metamorphosis for like 1 gold each, unlimited amount. And unlimited metamorphosis right there.
That's the shocking part to me. Like, I can't believe they added DLC to this stuff when you could very easily get mods for it as well.
I'm worried that Capcom might try and crack down on them, and if it does, that would be a bad move.
I think the biggest issue we've had on this is kind of, the best way to say is the marketing around it. This wasn't announced before the release. As soon as it went live, everyone went, hold on, there's like over $40 Australian dollars worth of mods suddenly with this
DLC. Microtransactions.
Yeah, DLC with this full priced game as well. Yeah. And I think people kind of reacted to that very harshly.
Well, in this instance, it seems to be a little blown out of proportion, but I get it. Like, it's a bad look, and it's also a clear attempt at over monetizing something, especially when it's not really necessary. Now, in terms of other features, like because there are things that are missing from Dragon's Dogma 2 that I feel either should be there or they should have added from Dragon's Dogma 1. I've been craving a dying system in Dragon's Dogma 1, and I was hoping that they would be innovative and add it in Dragon. No, I don't. There's no dying system. You can't change the color of your outfits. But if they add like as a DLC, I would feel cheated and scummy. So that should have been an innovation in game, right? I wonder if they will. Because I wonder then if they'll monetize transmog. You know transmog, don't you? You don't know what transmog is?
What's a transmog?
Transmog? My gosh, Nathan! I thought you were a gamer.
I'm sorry, Shad. There's so many games in the world. What is transmog?
It's when you change the appearance of a weapon or clothing to another one, but keep the stats of the original.
Right. Yeah.
No, that wasn't in the original game, but mods allowed it a lot. It's like, I really like the look of this weapon, so I'm going to mod it to be this weapon, and they just have the stats of the other one.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's going to be mods that allow that anyway. Mods are this. They are safe in gaming at the moment. There is one mod on Dragon's Dogma that has improved a lot for me, but I'll say that for my first
full review. Yeah.
My review. It's not going to be because there's a lot of game there that I will be playing. And so I wonder what I'll say after playing hundreds of hours of this. Like, I'm already making a second character to have multiple pawns because it's fun. It's fun, but I'm getting off topic. Back to microtransactions. So, is there a better way that Dragon's Dogma could have handled it? I'm trying to think what would be some microtransaction DLC that I would feel okay with. I wonder. I reckon I could accept some unique armor sets. They would need to be, like, I'm talking $1 because I think just getting an armor set isn't enough to warrant anything more than that, and even that might. But if it's a unique item, more specifically from other IPs that fit well within the Dragon's Dogma world, Dragon's Dogma upon release, they had armor sets from the Guts manga anime. And you get Guts' armor, same with Griffin's armor, the breastplate, Guts' sword and stuff like that. But it must have been limited release because they had to cut it with the expansion.
Right.
And you didn't get it anymore. I was like ripped off. But that would be really cool if they added but then they have to create deals with other IPs and stuff.
Against Capcom, probably have other IPs of things they could probably...
You would think, wouldn't you, that they could milk a bit? Because just adding, extra armor that doesn't have anything, just really fancy-looking armor, I'd feel a bit...
Not interested.
Yeah. Though, they have done something in game that might lead to them doing this. This is my biggest... I'm going to complain about this in my review. They cut... There's no layering in the armor anymore. I'm so upset about that. Dragon's Dogma 1 was innovative that had this, right? Where you could have an underlayer on your chest slot and an overlayer, mix and match it, and you could get so many varieties of looks, and that was separate to the gloves. So mix and match gloves, underlayer, overlayer. Same with pants. So underlayer pants, and then there was basically the boots layer of pants as well. Now it's just top layer, gloves, a chest all integrated, and bottom layer, and that's it. And that was 5 different slots that are now rendered to 2, and then you just have head and cloak. And I'm just like, I wonder if they are planning to sell, because that limits you on the look of your character. So if they're planning to sell additional armor, clothing, and stuff like that, you have less options to get the look of the character you want. So that means they have, kind of leverage, say, hey, look how cool this armor, you want this look, don't you? You can't get anything close to it because you can't mix and match and make the look you want. If they start selling that, if they cut armor layering for that would genuinely piss me off.
Do you think they're going to do more DLC?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. But I think, so with Dragon's Dogma 1, they had the expansion. Bit of Black Isles expansion. And it's weird how they did it with number 1, because so they had the main game, right? And then they released the Bit of Black Isles thing. And as long as you were playing on the original release, you could still have the DLC that you got from the first game. So the first game DLC, I'm trying to remember, there was DLC items. These items were interesting. There was a whole range of them. And I don't think you had to, I think it was just a pack that you bought together. And you could also, they would appear in your inventory, but I think you could also buy them from the Black Cat in-game. But these DLC items had really low stats, but you could upgrade them. But the thing is, though, because they had so many options, you could happily have a really low stat piece of clothing and then high stat other stuff to balance it out to get the look that you wanted. But there was some actually good clothing I remember from that. When Bit of Black Isles was released, you got that. The thing is, though, they did a re-release, especially the Steam release, which was just Bit of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, okay? Which had Bit of Black Isles and everything. And all that DLC was integrated into the Dark Arisen release. And that's when they also cut the Guts expansion stuff as well. And so... I kind of purchased all that anyway on the PlayStation release, right? But then they gave it for free on the release, and I was like, they cheat. Why did you the people who bought all that DLC, kind of don't get anything special out of it afterwards, which is a little annoying. Because I think they even re-released Dark Arisen as a one complete thing on, I think that was the next console release. Right. I forget if it was PS3, but the next gen release had just Bit of Black Isles. And then it came with everything. And so that's what they did with Dragon's Dogma 1. So there's definitely going to be an expansion, I reckon. Now, the Dark Arisen expansion was a good meaty expansion. Bit of Black Isles had a really high difficulty in it. It was fun, and there was... replayability in it and challenge in it as well. And I enjoyed Dragon's Dogma 1 so much that I even challenged myself. In fact, I've got live streams here. Back when Night's Watch used to be game nights, I did some gaming streams. Sorry, game night. Yeah, I did some gaming streams. Dragon's Dogma gaming streams, and I did some of the most difficult runs. And one of the ones is really fun, right? You start the game and you go and you kill. So death is the most difficult boss in the game. Mm-hmm. You go and there's a way to kill him early on, and like when you're only like level 10 or something, and I did it. It's hard, but I pulled it off, and I killed it death, and then I instantly got to like level 60 in one hit. It was fun. But that's live stream. You can look it up. You look up Dragon's Dogma here on Night's Watch, you'll find those live streams. That was fun. So yeah, there's definitely going to be DLC. I just hope if it's good quality. I don't have anything against it, really. But you know, modern gaming, you just can't tell.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's like the DLC that they've thrown out, right, is pointless. It's all available in game. It can be modded, and fixed to get that stuff anyway. And so it seems like the only reasons it's there is for people who it's for the whales.
Yeah.
That's like, I just need all the DLC because I need all the DLC. And it's also based on a little bit of ignorance, because only people who are unfamiliar with the fact that a lot of this stuff is easily attainable in the game was like, oh, I have to get it to remake my character, and they haven't found there's like, because I've only found one vendor that sells it, and you might not even find him and talk to him to realize you can buy this stuff. And so that does seem a little bit cheeky. When I say cheeky, a bit scummy. That like they're basically taking advantage of the ignorance in that regards. So do you think that warrants people boycotting the game?
I don't know, because people get on bandwagons a lot with these sorts of things. I think a lot of people are afraid that if Capcom sees success for this, they're going to do this more with other games. And so I think people are fighting back. I like to see the negative receptions because it means, okay, hopefully businesses see this and go, all right, this is a bad idea for a single player game. We'll keep it out of this. I don't know how Dragon Dogma is going to do, though. Do you think it's going to... Because I feel like this is its first initial kind of news story that people who may have not heard about the game are first seeing this and might not want to give it a try now because of it. And I feel like it might actually suffer as a community now because of it.
The overall views on Dragon's Dogma is mixed at the moment.
Okay, so it's gotten better.
And it was very low. And some of the first things, like the game itself is fantastic, but I cannot recommend it given the huge performance issues. Wait and see if they fix before buying. The performance issues are interesting. I don't know if it's because of this or not. What do you think? Is it like...
I don't know either.
I don't know. So, last night, while playing Dragon's Dogma, my graphics card died. And it was an RTX 3090, so it was not a lightweight at all. It was over 3 years old, like just over 3 years old, just out of warranty, right? Like by 2 months, right on the thing. And for some reason, I feel that's more the...
that's more frustrating, yeah.
But also more the reason why it decided to kick it then. And look, I don't let my graphics card off lightly. I make sure I get all the grunt out of it I can because I do AI art, and that sucks every single bit of VRAM out of it. Especially because I got a big graphics card, I can push it to its limits and make larger generations and everything. And so I was probably getting a little taxed already. I had been using it, solidly. So I don't know if I can blame Dragon's Dogma for this, because while playing it, up until that point, I didn't have any issues, really. Like, I never heard it overtaxing the GPU or anything like that. And so I'm not sure if it was but there has been complaints of its optimization.
Yes.
Yes, and that it doesn't run great. And I'm yet to find out. Yeah, I guess if my new graphics card dies, because there's 100 hours left of me apply playthrough on this. If this kills my new graphics card,
that's when we know it was Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, I'll be because I do AI generation and also lots of gaming and stuff like that. Just to get done, I need a chunky one, and so I'm going to be getting a 4090. Why do you have that expression, Nathan?
Because I still have a 2080.
And I can only afford it because of graphic novel. We have some funds that's freed up for that. I don't want to fork out that money, but I feel like my hand is forced. I got to do it.
You got to get a 4090.
But I mean, if this kills this new one, I will be pissed. That's when it's like,
I don't think it will.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I also just feel like every single game that's come out recently that's AAA has had this issue at launch every single time of like bad frame rates, bad performance. It's just like almost like it's just inherently AAA, stereotypes basically. So they'll fix it through time. I give it about, because I think Jedi Fallen Order took about 8 months before they fixed all the big issues. So I give it about probably the same with Dragon's Dogma. They'll fix the major stuff, and obviously the little small things will get eventually. But that's the thing. It's such a long time. I feel like this was such a great opportunity for them to actually bring this RPG more into the mainstream. But so far, the reception I've seen online has not been any good reception.
Yeah.
Like, when people were doing reviews, people enjoyed the character creator, people were kind of excited for a new RPG. But then with the DLC and the performance stuff now, it's kind of like...
It also has the de novo thing attached to it, which is throwing people off. And that's all kind of annoying. And I get people's frustration. So if they want to boycott it to send a message, I say all power to them. The game itself is actually pretty darn good. Okay, I'm up to 17, 18 hours or something like that on it. Played it over the weekend. I would have played more. My graphics card didn't die. I hope to fix that today. But as a Dragon's Dogma 1 mega fan, I played that to death on PlayStation on the release, then on the re-release on PlayStation, then on Steam release and everything. My favorite game of all time is Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, all of it, all of the versions, right? And as someone who is got very high, this hits the Dragon's Dogma itch. The combat is phenomenal, and it does a lot of things right. Just not to say that noises. Wait until I give my review on that. But it does give you what you want as a Dragon's Dogma player. And so if people want a brilliant game, it is a brilliant game with those issues kind of attached to it. The performance one is interesting. I think people, I'll be interested to see what happens if they can improve that. And a lot of the reviews seems to be acknowledging, that first one was the game is pretty darn good. It's just these other side
elements ruining it.
Because if this does well, I hope they will give us more installments. I want more Dragon's Dogma, but I want it better than this one. At the moment, I think Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is better, which is a bit sad to say because it's such an old game, because it just had some features in it that this one's missing. Performance and other things like that. It's not to say this new one doesn't have new features that I really love. The character creator is brilliant, and they have new innovative system with the pawn system and a couple of other things. Again, I'll talk about that in my main review. And so they did add and try and improve on things. I was worried that it was just going to be, here's Dragon's Dogma 1 minus some features with better graphics. But it's not that. It actually is a bit of give and take with number 1, because there are some new features that in Dragon's Dogma 2 that I love, that I want them to stay as staples in the franchise. Just give us stuff back that you cut from it. Capcom. So at the end of the day, the microtransaction thing is a little bit of hot air, yet at the same time, it is also, it's not full scummy because it's in the game, yet it is, profiting off people's ignorance a bit. Doesn't ruin the game though. And so at the end, it is an expensive game as well. It's probably quite overpriced for some people. And so I think as a result, a lot of people will be a bit on the fence on it. It's not a complete, write-off, something like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because you have a really good game there. And that's where it ends. And wait for the review. Also, if you want, my pawn is available. His name is SHADIVERSITY. We could even put the pawn ID up, because you can look up pawns by ID, so you can check out my pawn. I hire him. Give me Seeker token. I want Seeker tokens. All right. Until, as always, next time. I don't know. I'm getting confused. Stay on watch.